Hey, I'm Heather, and a few folks have asked me what are some of the top things I do to have a successful, healthy week. And the very first thing I will say is I make chicken bone broth. And I thought it might be easy just to make it with you and talk about what it is. So what you need is you'll need celery, onions, bay leaves, carrots, big stock pot, and this one has cool water in it, chicken, salt, and pepper. So it's not a lot, but some people think it's fancy. This is definitely not fancy. So fancy, not fancy. So the first thing, just get your carrots. I like to have about double the amount of celery to carrots. You I cut off the bottoms and tops. Let's see if we can get a bowl to put this in. Okay, a bowl for scraps, hooray. Carrots. So it really doesn't matter how you cut the carrots because it's going into your bone broth. I like to make them sort of manageable size because after the stock is done or the bone broth is finished simmering, I use it, I blend it down to make the beginnings of a soup so it can kind of be a thicker soup. This carrot has tops on it. Go ahead and put those tops in there. It's fine, it's good for you. Skins, you can choose to skin your carrot or not skin your carrot. Doesn't really matter because it's going into your bone broth, and in the end, you're not going to be serving it to be pretty, right? Then I have some celery. So like I said, I like to use double the amount of celery to my carrots. The leaves are super yum, so keep your leaves on there. I normally kind of just trim the very tips off because they're dry and ugly. I guess ugly doesn't matter, I just do it anyway. So again, I rough chop them. Doesn't really matter the size, just enough to make it easier for me in the long run when I go to blend at the end. So just cut through and put it in your stock pot. And the bottoms as well. Sometimes these are annoying, but there we go, into your stock pot. Okay, onions. I usually only use one onion, but my onions are kind of small, so I'm gonna use 2 onions. You don't have to take the time to like mince your onions or make them super small like you would for, I don't know, spaghetti. You can pretty much just do them in fourths, big chunks like that, and pop them in there because with a bone broth, it's different than a stock, or this we're making and it's different than plain old broth. So broth, it's usually meat and a few vegetables, and it's a quick boil, maybe 2 hours, and that's what you use it, and then you go from there with seasonings. With a bone broth, it's mostly roasted bones and then aromatic vegetables, and then it simmers for like 24 hours, and I really just don't have time for that. So a bone broth is kind of like a mixture of the two. So you have your aromatics, you have your vegetables, so carrots, celery, onions are in the pot now. Then we're gonna do like, I don't know, if they're big, maybe 4, 5 if they're small. Little cloves of garlic here. So a bone broth is one that will simmer on low for about 6 hours. And that way you get all of the goodness from the bones, and it's just really, really good. So when you use a bone broth, you get extra electrolytes, amino acids, you get the collagen that leaches out, which is good. So in with the garlic. So with garlic, you don't have to peel it, you don't have to chop it, you just put your knife on it and just bam, pound it real quick, and then the skin comes right off, and just a big chunk like that, throw it in your pot. So nothing fancy about that. Here we go. There we go. And one last one. Peel it off really quick. There we go. So the last thing that we put in is the chicken. Let me move that over here. So whenever you get a chicken, go ahead and get the full chicken in a package. A lot of people don't use the full chicken. I like the full chicken because it's gonna have wings, which have lots of connective tissue, and it's gonna have your thighs and your leg meat, which is really good and tasty. Then it'll have your chicken breast. Also, after it simmers for that long, I pull all of that meat off and tuck it away for meals throughout the week. Just make sure when you take it out of its packaging, rinse it off, look inside, because you'll probably have a giblet bag. I don't use the giblets. That to me is a throwaway item. Rinse it off. You can dry it off with a paper towel if you like, and then you just put it in your stock pot. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hands really quick because I touched chicken. Okay, hands are clean. Chicken is over here. Now, in your stock pot, it's gonna be kind of full. You want your water to be cold, your vegetables to be cold, your meat to be cold, and the water needs to cover the top of your chicken, and then you'll add salt. But when you add salt, make it a healthy salting. But you don't want that water to taste like the ocean, just good enough. And then for your pepper, I don't know, like 10 rounds or so, and then you're good. So the next thing that you do is you put it on your stove, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down low and let it simmer for about 6 hours, and then turn it off and let it cool. So thanks, I appreciate it.